Welcome back to Retro Wednesday, the Tidarium Hanger. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about kind of the future of collection videos that I have coming up. I like to do entire collections, entire series, everything that was made in a vintage toy line. And those videos I think are very fun and informative, and people get to see pretty much everything that was made in one shot. And sometimes those videos don't exist, or sometimes they're really long. I'm trying not to make those too long, but anyway, this is going to kind of be the future of Retro Wednesday when it comes to those types of videos. I'm also going to be peppering in some vintage reviews, some modern items that are based on vintage toy lines. So I'm going to talk about this, that, and other stuff for Retro Wednesday going forward. Coming up, it'll be kind of fun. First off, I want to talk about Bravestar. Now, I've already done the Ford Carrium, I've done a 3030 review, but I haven't done the entire toy line at once, and the entire toy line is very, very small. It's not a big toy line at all, and there's some bits and pieces and accessories and stuff that I didn't even know existed while I was collecting it and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to start with this. I'm curious, though, what everybody thinks, like what is everybody interested in, and then I would kind of go from there. If there's a huge interest in Bravestar, obviously I would do that one first, or a huge interest in maybe Indiana Jones, work on that one next. But I do kind of want to put out a video, a collection video like this, right before something drops. Like Ramen Toy is making The Marshal, and so it would be kind of fun to have a collection video of what's going on, and then down the road review The Marshal like a week or two later. So that'd be kind of fun. Anyway, looking at this though, you do see, I want to point out the Kenner Superpowers Batman cape. That's like an extra one, and it's kind of rough shape. And I'm going to see, I've got a new process for cleaning vintage cloth, and I'm going to test it on that and see if it does not mess that material up. That's a pretty rough condition cape, and I see if I can make it look brand new again. But I don't know if people are still really interested in restoration type videos. Seems like the one I made wasn't really all that popular. But, you know, with this, though, breaking down the Bravestar stuff, I think that would be a whole lot of fun. I also have a little Crystar collection. I don't really have it displayed very well to even take a picture of, but I do have enough probably to do the vast majority of the toy line, missing a few things here and there. But it's one of those that there's just not much of the stuff out there. It doesn't pop up often enough, but it's a pretty cool toy line. It's pretty small. I had some fun with it when I was a kid, and so I kind of remember that. But I think it'd be kind of fun video, just at least go through and show the figures, because I've got those, and you know, the mounts, the riders, the dragons, all that kind of stuff. But that might be a fun one to do down the road, maybe at the beginning of the year or something along those lines. But yeah, Crystar is a fun line, and probably be doing that one pretty soon too. Next up on the list is the Robocop, and so what I would be doing is pretty much everything that's not Kenner, the not Kenner Robocop stuff. And so with that, my display has gotten a little overloaded with a few things, and there's Toy Island made some interesting stuff. Now, some of their stuff looks more real world than actually the Kenner, and because Kenner was based off cartoon, but so was this in a way. This was based off cartoon also. So I want to kind of dig deep into it and go into it. I've got most of the stuff, but I don't have it all. And some of the weird things like the cryo chamber and all that kind of stuff, I don't even know how it's supposed to work. And I'm not sure what parts I'm missing, this, that, another. I'm not really too worried about all that. But I would kind of show that this exists, and this is sort of how I think it works. But is anybody even interested in this? Like, should I bother with it? Or is Kenner the only thing that anybody cares about when it comes to Robocop vintage stuff? I'm just curious. I'm curious the opinions out there on vintage Robocop stuff. Now, I do want to get into Indiana Jones. I do want to make a video showing everything made by Kenner. The problem is I don't have everything made by Kenner. In fact, I wasn't even going to get into this toy line because it's just way too expensive. But a buddy of mine told me his childhood collection for $200. So it was a really good starting point. But, you know, like, it's still expensive after that. Like, that white horse there was $100, and then, you know, it just adds up from there. And so with that, trying to finish it out, I do have some reproduction parts because I didn't want to spend the crazy money on the original parts and stuff like that. So with it though, LJN is probably not going to get a representation in the future, like in a retro LJN style figure. So those actually are ones I had to kind of secure, and I made sure I did secure those. And then so with that, the Kenner ones are going to be getting remade by Hasbro, and then doing like comparisons when those come out. So it'd be kind of fun to kind of ride the excitement of that too. So put this video out showing all of the Kenner stuff, and then right around the time that the retro stuff starts dropping, and that would be fun to do comparisons, side-by-side comparisons, all that kind of stuff. And then of course we would get into what do we still need from Hasbro and that kind of stuff going forward. But you know, I don't have all of this stuff, so some of it would be pictures of like the truck. I don't have that, and I really don't care to get the truck and all that kind of stuff. But I think I have the main play sets and just what we need for this. The 2008 3.75 inch line, or closer to 4 inch line, that's a really hard toy line to keep straight. I think I've got it all. I think I do. Again, I don't have all the vehicles. I don't really care if I get all the vehicles and stuff, because there's different iterations of vehicles and those kinds of things. I would really mostly just be focusing on the figures that came out, showcase the play set, and the vehicles that I do have. But that's a big project. So, and I'd probably do it in the same week though. So, or maybe they'd be different weeks. I don't know. But with it, there's a couple of problems with collecting this line, and one of the problems is the SDCC stuff. So there was basically 6 figures that were mostly based off the original Kenner characters, but they were, oddly enough, like a $60 or $70 SDCC set that now sells for ridiculous prices. Like each figure is going for like $100 or more. And so there was a time I could have picked it up, like the whole set for $200, but I just didn't realize that that was that big of a deal. And you know, we're talking just a year and a half ago, I could have picked it up for $200. Now it's just through the roof. So I don't know if they'll ever reissue those characters again in this style, but we'll definitely get them again in the retro style. But I did build this display around the play set, and then of course the Temple of Doom, rickety bridge scene and all that kind of stuff. That was a lot of fun. So, but I will be doing this going forward. It's a bear. There's a really good video out there by Retro Blasting. It's over an hour long because that's how big this line is. So the next toy line that I was going to do a full-on toy line collection video is Dungeons & Dragons. Well, a couple of problems with that is it's huge. I didn't realize it was that big. I was like, it's 19 figures or something like that. And a couple of horses, and it just turns into, they have beasts, they have bendables, they have, well, the playset, of course, I knew about the playset, and that wasn't easy to acquire. And so with all of this, that's either one really long video or breaking it up into a week of Dungeons & Dragons week. And I think I will do an LJN Dungeons & Dragons week like I did with Robotech and some other stuff. And so I think that'd be a fun week, but I think it should be closer to when the Toon figures come out. So that's kind of my plan with that one. And with that, it gives me more time to just dial out a couple more pieces that I'm missing that I think are critical. And then the rest, of course, will just be pictures. But I probably won't get everything. Like I'm at a point now where I don't know if I need everything in every line, because it just starts getting too expensive and hard to acquire. And then when I'm done making the video, I don't know if I even want to keep all of it. So that, you know, you get into all those kind of problems and decisions and stuff. Here we are with some of this, just a mixture of different things that they made for the LJN Dungeons & Dragons line, which makes it a fun line. I mean, it does make it a fun line at the end of all of this. There's stuff like Presto. He's just like a PVC figure, but he actually scales better with Tiamat than a standard figure would. But I guess he's about the same size as Mel for Paralay. So anyway, there's just little pieces that go, I don't know, accessories that go with some of these elementals and all that kind of stuff that I have most of them, but I think I'm missing one or two. And then there's big figures that are paired with small figures, and there's small figures that are paired together. And so there's quite a bit that goes into this. And that's not even talking about all the stuff that goes into the playset, which that'll probably be its own day of review. But yeah, Dungeons & Dragons is pretty big. Now, I did a whole Robotech week. I think I was going to do one Retro Wednesday where I talk about variants. I did recently pick up a collection from a friend of mine, and it was a pretty good collection. It was a pretty big collection with a lot of stuff, and I noticed that it was almost all original Matchbox, and I had a lot of the Harmony Gold stuff because it was cheaper. Like, I was just wanting a representation of each character and all that stuff. But now that I'm seeing all the different variations, I'm wanting to show that and showcase it. Does anybody even care, though? Like, if I make it, is it a video like, who cares about variations in Robotech? Or is that interesting? I'm highly fascinated by it, and I just try to figure out, why did they make this variant? Why is it different? And, you know, that's kind of stuff that I look at. But this was kind of eye-opening to sit there and look. I was like, well, which figure do I like better? Which one looks better? I was like, they look completely different because they're different. And so that was just a shocker with almost the whole collection. So I think it would be kind of fun to make that video and show it off. The whole front row is variants, by the way. I really thought this picture was going to be better than this, but oh well. It's not the greatest picture. This is not a display. This is actually 3 different shelves that I display these, but it's Kenner Superpowers' modern take on the original 33. And I would say I'm going to make a video showing you the best version of each, and that, I didn't even go after the best version. I went after the cheapest version of each. That was my goal. And looking through these, most of these were $10 or less. Some of them I did have to pony up like 22 or something. I don't think anything was more than 25, which to me was too much, in my opinion. Some of this stuff is the new Todd McFarlane stuff that came out, but I just wanted to have the 33 in modern representation, and some things really go through your head. Like, that it sounds like a simple, easy task. Well, if you get them for $10 each, 33 figures is $330. If you get them for $20 each, you're getting into almost $700. And then if you say, well, some of those, there's 2 of them are Build-A-Figures that are each like 50 or more, this starts to get to be a very expensive endeavor. But I've been doing it bits and pieces here and there. I get a figure for $7 or $8, and it's just like, oh, let me finish this. So I think it'd be a fun video to talk about and share about. And then with that, always the comments that down below, this is a better representation, and you know, I'll link a picture to or something, or give me the description of what I need to look for. That's always fun too, the feedback. Like, the best Wonder Woman is this one. That's always fun. And so Biker Mice is something that I did collect a couple years back, and want to talk about why. I actually was buying some stuff from a seller, and he's like, man, I got all this stuff, do you want it? And I was like, well, I got some Biker Mice stuff. Never saw it before. I mean, I saw it in the package in the 90s. I never saw it loose like that. And I was like, well, yeah, let me give it a shot. And it was real cheap, like $10 figure. I got started on it, and I just slowly added to it. Buy a collection a lot, a collection here, collection there, for real cheap too. And I was getting it for real cheap. It turns out it's not so cheap anymore. It's actually much harder to find than it was like 2 years ago. And so with that, I think it'd be kind of fun to do a little collection video of what all I've acquired with it. But I don't have it all. I don't have the 4x figure. Some of the figures I don't have the accessories. And so it's one of those things, like when I did my Rambo video, I was missing a lot of accessories. And I go back and watch it now, it's just a lot of gaps in it. I want to kind of not leave that many gaps in a video. So, but Biker Mice is kind of fun. These figures are really well articulated for the time. For at least the mice were. The bad guys are mostly statues. And the concept behind the bad guys and kind of stuff is interesting also. But yeah, this was, it was not as easy as it probably should have been to collect this line. But now it's getting, some stuff's getting easier. The Knights were easier to find these days than they were back, 2 years ago. They were non-existent 2 years ago. Just curious what you guys think in the comments below about future Retro Wednesday full collections, entire toy lines that you'd like to learn more about, know more about. And I am peppering in some stuff. I'm probably going to do one of my favorite Joe vehicles, the Tiger Fly or the Dragonfly. Could kind of both of them do a video about that. I'm probably going to be doing a couple of Turtles videos. I'm not really super into Turtles, but there's some cool stuff about Turtles, just enough cool stuff to talk about and to showcase, and a few other things. So, but when it comes to collections, what full collections that I've displayed here interest people the most, so I can start working those in to be the next collection video. Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Try to hang around.